Hi, and welcome to another Cadence Tech video. Today I will be talking about the QRS6K2. This is a two-way setup. As you can see, it involves a 6.5 inch, which does come with a grill. It has the passive network for it, a tweeter. This is a 25 millimeter silk dome tweeter. And then it has hardware necessary to do the mounts. I'll explain a little later. So anyway, the first thing I want to talk about real quickly is the 6.5. These drivers are, again, this is a polypropylene cone with a Kevlar fiber core. This will give us good dampening effect. Also, it'll give us good efficiency because of its lightness. What that means to you is basically it's smoother in its sound. This is, you can see here that the basket is designed as an OEM direct replacement type driver. So this will actually fit in a 6-inch door, even though that this is a 6.5-inch driver. And so you've got here you've got all the different styles of mounting holes necessary to mount the driver. It does also come with a face plug. This is for high frequency response. This is necessary so that when you're mating to the tweeter and stuff like that, especially when your tweeter's in a different location, say farther up the door or away from the driver and stuff like that, this deals with cancellations that happen at high frequencies. So the off-axis response of this driver is much better. It also comes with the integrated terminal assembly. So you've got terminals here so that you can mount your wires onto. This is a screw-down type style. Let's see, now on to the tweeter itself. The tweeter, again, like I said, it is a 25 millimeter silk dome tweeter. It screws right out of the casing so that when so that you can mount this cup here is actually designed for what we call a flush mount. So there's other hardware that comes with it, steel brackets and everything that come from the backside, so you would snap it into a hole. So for instance, you make a hole and then you snap this right in there. The tweeter it screws in and out of each individual cup, so when you mount it on there, that's how it happens. You also have what's known as a flush cup, or a surface mount cup. This here is basically, you would mount this to the top of a surface, whatever you wanted to. And then you also have an angled type connection. So again, this allows you about, maybe about 20-30 degree of angle. Now, one of the things about these drivers that is very nice is the crossover. One of the things that we spent some time on was we were dealing with some issues that normally come about when people are mounting these drivers. The kind of the latest fad necessary for mounting tweeters is put them in the A-pillar. Okay, high up in the door, high up in the A-pillar location, they'll actually make an entire pillar structure and aim the tweeter at people and stuff. This is not necessary, just so you know. This is kind of a falsehood on a certain level. There is a degree that it does work. The reason why that it does work is because you tell yourself that it works. Because the tweeter is located in an area where you see, and so you say to yourself the high frequencies are up there. But because we know this is going to happen and stuff, what we decided to do is we would design the passive crossover to help compensate for the problems that are associated with moving the drivers so far away from each other. There's phasing issues that happen, at the crossover point. And so one of the things we did for you is that we give you two different types of crossover points in the mid bass itself. So you have a low and a high, and those points allow you to change it and find out if it sounds better, because the mid-range may need to play higher because the tweeter is farther away. Now, if the tweeter is right up next to it, you would just simply put the crossover back to the low position, but when it's away from, you want to put it in the high position. You also have, on this side here, you have the ability to change the phasing of the tweeter. What this does is it changes the mechanical polarity of this driver. And again, what we're dealing with is we're dealing with these 2 points where these two overlap each other, called the crossover. And we want to be able to make this where the transition from the mid-range to the tweeter is seamless in its sound. And what that means is that sounds smooth. There's not this disconnect where I hear a mid-bass and I hear a tweeter. That is not the way music sounds. It should sound like it's one object and one object only. The last but not least on here, what we have done here is we've given you the ability to also attenuate the tweeter. This is important when you're setting up the system, especially when you're doing them in a pillar type location, because the driver's side pillar tweeter would be closer than comparison to the passenger side. So we would want to be able to attenuate that tweeter so that we can get, again, it's about transition between these objects and also the transition between right and left. If the right or left sounds more dominant, what ends up happening is the imaging that you get seems to sound more to the left side of the car. We want your imaging to sound like it's in the middle of the car, just like if you were listening to it a live stage. So again, this is the QRS6K2 two-way setup.